My name is Leonard Vassell. I did 8 years in the military. I was in the Army. I was doing support platoon and transportation, and I'm 45 years old. I went to a meeting at one of the VA clinics down at in Oakland Park, and when I went in just for a simple filling out documentation, they told me, one of the desk clerk told me that there was your company, the Welcome Hold Group, in the back, and would I like them to help me with my resume? So I say, hey, sure, I'm here. And I went in and started doing it, and the presentation that the Welcome Hold Group showed us, it just made me want to engage even more, because it was just the way how they presented themselves, like they were really concerned about my needs and my cares, and that was something new and different for me. So again, my first impression was, at least they're here, and what they presented was very, I would say, inviting. They didn't seem like they were trying to run you any games. They didn't seem like they were trying to just con you into doing something. But matter of fact, it was Joe who was giving the presentation that day, and just the way how he presented himself and just the information, it was just something that say, you know what, I've been around trying everything else. It doesn't hurt to try this. And from the time I gave them my information, it's happened nonstop. I've just been countless helping out with Joe and with Jenna and their team. They have an excellent team that I really enjoy. Oh, and don't forget about Harvey. I would say I went to Career Source Broward and dealing with their veteran program, and they have helped me as well. But it wasn't to the point where the resume building, it wasn't to the point where they gave me the advice where Harvey, my counselor, my mentor, helped me with. He took my resume, and the information what I had, it seemed to me simple and basic, like it was top notch. He restructured it and helped me see a totally different person that I never saw before. And that made me feel outstanding. It was a feeling that I cannot even explain to anybody else. You have to go through it to understand how it will make you feel. For somebody to view you as something more than how you view yourself, it makes me feel good. So when I met Jenna and going through the roll call, it was a process that was different. Yes, we filled out forms, but it was just that Jenna was there to help us, to guide us if we had any part where we didn't quite understand what it was asking for, or what they were looking for. And then from that point on, when they tell you that, oh, you got to get this call, and you need to please be accountable with the people who's working with you. And I took that serious, because if somebody's going to take their time to work with me, I want to make sure that I'm there to work with them, because they're doing me a favor. And so every time the call, it was on time. The call was not, it wasn't to say that I had to think about it, I had to wait, they missed a call, they missed an hour. No, if they told me at 10 o'clock, this is the time what we're going to have our meeting at, it was at 10 o'clock. It was on time with the person who they say you was going to be speaking with, and then from that point on, it was just get into business. It was structured very well, just like the military. Basically, that's how it felt. Everything what you do in the military was the same thing what this organization was doing, from front to back, and it was almost like a no-brainer. All you had to do was showing up from the time you're showing up to the time you leave. They were there, and again, I only went to the part was as far as doing my resume with Harvey. When I got to after Harvey, to get to the second part of finding the job placement, I already had sent out the resume with, after they edited and did all the critiquing to it. I sent it out to a couple of agencies, and I got hired with a company called G4S. And just based off of that, it wasn't the same as before a $10 job, because it seemed like everybody want to hire you, but they want to hire you for low income. Well, with the awards and decoration what they put on my resume, made me stand out even more, and I was able to sell myself to that organization as more than what I thought myself was. And I got hired, and it was something wonderful. I did not think that I would get hired that quick. Within, I say, after I got done with Harvey, I would say within maybe 2 weeks, Harvey was telling me that, oh yeah, so we going to have you talk to the next stage and start looking for a job. And here it is, another job already called me on up and said, hey, look, we're looking to hire you as a security person. Do you want the job? And it was like, oh wow, also. So it was just because of that resume, the changing of words, the changing of terms, the changing of the format of how I view myself, somebody was able to take it and made a corporation look at me differently and willing to hire me right there on the spot. Well, my experience with Harvey was excellent. From the first day when Harvey got me on the phone and we started talking, he started asking me about myself. Harvey just came off and said, hey, look, relax, take a deep breath, and made me feel like, hey, this is not an interview. I'm trying to help you to get to a certain point, and just talk to me. And a lot of times, I had to get myself out of that mind frame of trying to sounding like a robot, of trying to speak the language so that way, hopefully, I would say the things that will make the person happy so I could get to the next stage. Harvey didn't make me feel that way. Harvey made me feel like a regular person. He made me feel like part of his family. It was something that he talked, and the question that he asked, it built upon more and more stuff, and I could hear it and I understand what he was doing, but yet still, it was just like, wow, nobody ever asked me questions like these before, trying to get to know Leonard. They just usually want to know, hey, what's your job, what you do, and how long you did it for, and that was it. Regular resume building. Harvey didn't do it like that. He wanted to get to know the person that was talking on the phone, and the more I gave him was the more he was able to write down about me, and I was no longer a just specialist Leonard. I was now Leonard Vassell, the man coming to him, and he helped me identify certain things that I overlooked in my resume or on my resume. Per se, my logistical skills. He took it to a point where I thought it was just, hey, everybody does take training and teach others and help others and so forth. No, he told me that no, as the stuff that you were doing in logistics was as acting as a manager, and he put a little bit more in depth in it. I never saw that before. Again, it was just because of the question that he asked me, and he had me opening up more to him, where I was able to feel comfortable to answer these questions. And it's been a great sense, and he tells me all the time, if I need help with anything, call me. We can talk, and that's the whole thing with this whole organization. Everybody is always telling you, call me, we can talk. You're not just here today and gone tomorrow. If you need a helping hand, call, ask, and they make you feel a part of this system. They don't make you just feel like you're a nobody. I would say no, I did not find that program difficult. But you have to understand, I was at a point in my life where I had to be willing to engage into the program. I had to be willing to open up and let them know everything about me and stop trying to define who I am and let somebody else help me define who I am. Military life is something totally different from civilian life. And what I did in the military, a lot of civilians don't know or understand how that translates in their terms. Well, these mentors, Harvey, Jenna, Joe, they all were able to go ahead and say, look, just speak to me. Speak to me like a human being. Speak to me like we're best friends on the block. And when I took off that guard, that shield, and opened on up, it wasn't something that was difficult. It was the easiest thing to do. Because again, they weren't there to try to just run me in and run me out, but they really wanted to get to know Leonard. And once they got to know Leonard, they were able to help Leonard develop something that Leonard never saw before. And so you have to be willing to engage. I've been to the point where I've been there where you don't want to talk to people because you feel like nobody's listening, nobody want to hear you, nobody understands you. And you're absolutely right. In the military, again, we do things totally different from civilian world. But again, if we take down our guard, if you take down your guard, relax and open up to these guys, yeah, it's the easiest thing to do. And they make you feel welcome. They don't try to rush you in and out. Yes, sometimes you might have a time limit, but guess what? Sometimes they might tell you, hey, don't worry about this. Let's do what we got to do. Because they're interested in you. That means a lot. It means that now I have a friend, not just a person who's just filling out my resume for me. I'm not paying the service. This is totally free for me. And again, it's an experience that once you go through it, you don't ever want to change it. You want to go keep that friendship, keep that relationship going. I have recommended the Welcome Home group to other veterans before. And the reason is because, again, the Welcome Home group made me feel welcome. The key word is welcome. You have a network, and I'm learning about this word called network. You have this network of people who's willing to help you succeed in life. And when you found that, you don't want to let it go. You want to hold on to it and try to build a relationship. And that's what everybody in this organization does. That's why they call themselves the Welcome Home group, because it is a group of people helping you to succeed in life. It is a network that helps you get to where you want to be in life. I don't say they help you get jobs. They help you build careers. If you want to go out there and get a job like everybody else, fine, you can find that. And you won't get engaged with the organization as you should. But if you're looking for a career, the Welcome Home group will help you get to where you need to be. If you're willing to engage, if you're willing to help out, if you're willing to talk to them and allow them to help you the best way they see fit. They're not trying to tell you to do something that the average person will tell you to do. Again, they help you to find who you are. Some of us are lost. Again, myself, I was lost. I did not see myself as a leader, as a manager in organization. I just saw myself as an employee working. Well, I was able to get a job as a manager and move forward just because of somebody seeing something inside me and putting it down on paper. Sometimes we take what we do as the average and we need somebody to help us define it way better than how we can ever explain it, because it's beyond average. And this network, this organization, they will help you define that and do that if you allow them. So ever since I started the program, I was unemployed, but I was going to school. And single parent with my daughter. My daughter at the time was 16 years old. Now she just graduated. And from that point on, I graduated myself from college with a bachelor's degree, and I no longer work for that company. I went ahead and started my own company. I saw that sometimes, sometimes with these jobs, they still, even though you may go in with good intentions, again, sometimes it's not like the military life where you're used to getting promoted and keeping moving on up. And I'm not a person who's able to follow just because. It have to make sense. It have to have a purpose. And I couldn't find that in any job no more. But I did learn a lot. And again, just having the relationships that I have with the Welcome Home Group and mentors like Harvey and some of my other mentors, I went into business for myself. Just started 6 months ago, and now we're still growing. I'm still learning a lot, trying to gain government contracts, trying to go through the ups and downs of relying upon my own strength, my own will, per se. But that's the thing about the military. The military taught us that, hey, look, you know what? We get up in the morning time and go for it and do what we got to do. We're going to make it. And you don't ever stop fighting. You keep on fighting until you can't fight no more. And even when you can't fight no more, you fight again. That's my mindset with this, with everything now. I'm not only fighting because I'm just tired of seeing soldiers being taken advantage of. Too many jobs will have you come inside there and do the job and don't want to take care of you because they fear you. They fear that the knowledge that you bring in, you might take their job. They fear that you might outshine them. Very few organizations nowadays is willing to help a person grow to the point where, hey, they might be running the corporation later on in life. I grew up in an era where businesses took care of their employees. I grew up in an era where if you started a job, you know you could have worked there for 20, 30 years, guaranteed. Get the promotion, get the raises, get everything what you, and by the time you retire, you were still able to take care of your family and enjoy life. And when you look at life nowadays, that's not there no more. They don't have the loyalty that most military personnel will have. And that saddens me. And the only way I can change that is by stepping on out and start my own business, so that way I can bring something like that back. You shouldn't have to work 2 and 3 jobs just to make one decent paycheck to take care of your household. You shouldn't have to, whether or not, you shouldn't have to think, should I pay my insurance or should I feed my family? And because my insurance is due on my car or my insurance is due for medical reasons, but yet still there's no food in your house. I've been there plenty of times, and I just don't like that feeling. The military helped me to the point where I didn't have to worry about that. I didn't have to think about how my family's going to eat, how am I going to pay my bills, how am I going to do X, Y, and Z. Everything was already taken care of. And now I'm finding it hard with jobs nowadays to even, again, pay your insurance, whether it's vehicle, health, or whatever. So my mindset now is to start a business and help my fellow vets and help everybody get back on their feet, to pay them what they're really worth. If you're a hard worker, yes, we're gonna pay you whatever it takes to make sure that you're able to take care of you and your family, like how it used to be, like how it should be. The military had brought that inside of me. The Welcome Home group brought it out of me. Again, it was always there, and I thank God for that, because all this time all the gifts that I have has always been inside of me. I just needed somebody to help me bring it on out. And at each stage, somebody went ahead and took a little piece and helped me to blossom, helped me to grow. And now, as I said, we're 6 months in and getting better and stronger, and looking forward to bigger and better things. And if I can do it, I know you can do it too.